Hello students, today we will see the third lab term work for Android. The problem statement is develop the Android mobile application which consists of GUI components for login page creation. So we have to design an application and the application should be a login application. So your mobile application should just contain the graphical user interface components like the button, the text boxes, and that should be your login page. So we are not going to make use of any database connectivity for validation to check the username and password. So we are going to have the interaction only with GUI components. So let's begin. Let's create a new project in Android Studio. So we go to File, New, and say New Project. So we are going to again take an empty activity, click on Next. We will change the project name to Lab 3. Then I'll say Finish. So this will take a few minutes to build the new project. So we can see here the Gradle sync has started. So the Gradle sync has finished successfully. Now by default, you can see the empty activity that we had selected is given the name as main activity.java, and the related XML file to this is activity underscore main.xml. So the designing part, the placing of graphical user interface components is going to be on this activity underscore main.xml. And whatever code is to be written, we are going to write it in the Java file. So if you want to locate where this XML file is located, it is present in resources and in resources in the layout folder. Now let us first change the layout of this activity to linear layout. Now this is the opening tag for the linear layout, the parent tag, and this is the closing tag. So whatever components we need for the graphical user interface, like the button or the text box, we are going to place it inside this linear layout. So now first, let us take this off. We will include our widgets here. So before we do that, let us make changes here in the linear layout. Let us add an orientation. So what orientation is going to be vertical. That is, we want to place our widgets one below another in sequence. So that is why we have set the orientation to be vertical. And since it is a linear layout, the objects or the widgets can either be placed one below another or side by side, from left to right or right to left. So now we are going to place them from top to bottom. Next, we will add another property called as Android gravity, and we will say center. So this property is going to help us to like how do you want to arrange the widgets on the screen. So we want the widgets, the objects in this layout to be aligned at center. So that is Android gravity. Now we will take one text field. So either you can drag and drop this. You can see here, this is a text view. You can drag and drop this. So here is your text view. Or you can manually write a code. Now, we will just change the text. So if you observe here, the text inside this is this particular word that is written, that is text view. So we are going to change this to login. So we will add another property. We will add Android text size. So we will add here say 40 dp. dp stands for density pixels. Now after the text view, we will take to edit text. Edit text is basically, if you click on this particular widget here, so you can observe, see this is the main category of the widgets. Inside this main category you have these subcategories. Now I was talking about edit text. So it is one of the sub property, sub widget type of text. So edit text is going to accept the input from the user. Whereas if I make use of a text view, this is just going to be like a label. It is going to be displayed, but this cannot be edited. So if I want the user to enter the username and password, I will require an input field which is able to accept whatever the user is typing. So I will go for an edit text here. So you can type, say edit text. So we get the layout width and the layout height. We will select it to wrap content. So wrap content is, it is going to expand, the box is going to expand only up till the size of the text here. So you can see here, since now we do not have anything written inside our text box, the edit text widget, the box is very small. The moment we change, we write inside something, that particular edit text box is going to increase in its width. So we will write, first we will assign an ID to this. So every widget in Android requires an ID. With the help of this ID, we will be able to relate, that is, we will be able to manipulate our widgets, get the data from them. So since we are going to accept a username, I will say the ID as name. Next, we will make use of Android EMS property. So this is again similar to your density pixels that we specified here. This is like the text size you want to specify. You can go for SP, you can go for DP. These are the various uh, attribute names that you can use, like whether in inches or centimeters, if you're talking about measurements. So in the same way, how do you want the text size to be displayed? Then you have Android EMS. This is another way in which you want to specify the text. Let us close this tag here. Next, let me take another edit text box. Let us give an ID. So since this is, we are going to take the password, let me specify the ID as password. And I will again specify Android EMS property as 10. And then I will close this tag. Now let us have a button. So again, the width and height for the button will be wrap content. Let us specify an ID for the button by which we will be able to identify. So since this is a login button, I will say the ID as login. And then we close the tag. Now, let us have a look at the design here. So you can see here, we are having these two text boxes here, which can accept the input from the user, and this is a button. But there is no text being displayed. So here we can add another property called as hint. So either you can go and in the code window and add a hint there, or you can in this design interface you can search for hint property. So here I will say enter name. So now you can see here in gray, light gray, you have a hint that is for the user. So when the user looks at this particular edit text, we get to know he has to enter the name. In the same way, we will add another hint for the password button. Now, for this button, also we require a text to be displayed on the button. So we need to add the text property, not the hint property. So for that, we will go to this values folder. Inside the values folder, we will go to strings.xml. So in this particular XML file, you can add a list of strings, that is text. So whenever you want to access any particular text value, you can access it with the help of this string name. So we will add another string name. Since we are making use of this string name on the login button, I will add the string name as login underscore btn. Now what is the text that I want to be displayed? I want the text to be displayed as login here. Now let us go back to our activity underscore main. Let me show you in the code part. So I will say Android text. So either I can directly add the text here as login, or I can select at string slash login button. So what value is stored in at string slash login button? It is login. So you can see here on the button the text has appeared as login. So this is a better way of displaying text on widgets instead of directly specifying here. Like in the first one, in the text view we have done here, we have directly specified here as login. So instead of doing this, so you can also see here we are getting hard-coded string login should use at string resource. So a better practice would be go to your strings.xml file, and here you declare a string name, and that string is for the login text view. So we'll just say login underscore txt, and the text that I want to be displayed here is, we'll say login page. Now we'll come back, we will change this hard-coded string to, so now you can see this has changed, we are getting login page. So this is how we are going to create the interface. Now let us change the width of this particular text box. Since it is occupying the entire screen, the match parent property means it will occupy the entire screen. I want it to occupy only the space that how much the text is there, that is only this much. So I will change this to wrap content. So now all the widgets are in center. Let us have a look at the design. So we have this login page, we have taken a text box for username, a text box for password, and a button for login. Now the next thing is, we will create another activity, that is when the user enters the username and password, and when he clicks on the button login, from this particular activity it should just go to another activity where a message is going to be displayed as welcome. So for that, we will right click on this folder, we will say new activity, we will again select an empty activity. So let us specify the activity name here as let it be a home screen, that is the first screen after the login. So I will say as home, and then we say finish. Yes, so the Gradle sync has finished. Now we will just add another text view here on the XML sheet of our home page. So this is our home page and its related XML file is activity underscore home. So let us go to the coding here. Let us change this layout again to linear layout. Let us add the property gravity, Android gravity, and we'll keep it as center so that we want all our widgets to be placed in the center of the screen. Let us add just one text view that is like a label, and the text that I want to be displayed on this particular text view is welcome. So I can directly change here, but a better practice would be to go to the values folder, go to the strings.xml file and declare a string name. Let us try to access that. Here we will say at string slash welcome text. So with this, what is going to happen is whenever you want to access the same text, whenever I want to access, maybe I'm creating few more activities, and on all of the activities, I want the message to be displayed as welcome. So instead of typing every time welcome, I can just make use of this variable where this text is stored, where the value welcome is stored. Let us add text size. Let us have around 14 dp. Let us also align the text to center. So we can see here in the design. So we can still increase the font size and make it a little large. Let us search here in the designing part for the property text size. We had specified it in density pixels. Let us go for this time 18 sp and check. A little more big. We'll go for 30. So we have also created the second page now. Let us close the second page. Now the main part is we have to code for this particular login screen. So we have to go to main activity.java. Let us start with the coding. So first we have to declare the widgets that we have used on our XML screen. So to declare our variables, we will be declaring it before this function and after this class, that is main activity class. So here we are going to have our variable declaration. Now we have to declare variables for the widgets that we have used. So let us have a look at the widgets that we have used. We have used here two text boxes, the edit text widgets. Basically these widgets are going to take input from the user. Even the first one, login page, the text view is a widget, but we are not, the user is not allowed to make any changes here because this is a static text view. Whereas we talk about this The next two, the username and password field. Here, dynamically the user is going to type. So even the functionality that is related is going to be with the button. Whenever we click on the button, we are expecting certain functionality. So we will declare variables for these two text boxes, which is the widget name here is edit text. So we are declaring variables for edit text and another widget for this button. So let us come back to our Java file and declare the variables. So first we have to write the widget name. The widget name is edit text. Then we require two variables. One is for the username and another one is for the password. So I'll make use of the variables as name and password. So you can see it is in gray color, which means we have not yet used it anywhere. Let us declare another variable for our button. Since it is a login button, we'll say login. Now the next thing is we need to fetch them. That is, we need to provide a connection to these widgets that we have used in our XML file. So let me write a comment here. This is going to help us for connecting from the XML file. Now, the variable name that I have taken is this for the edit text. So I will say name is equal to, I have a function called as find view by ID. So whatever is declared in this, the first edit text, that has to be stored in the variable name. So you can have a look at the ID that we have specified for this edit text enter name. The ID is also name. So we will say r dot ID, and the ID that we have is name again. So if you are getting confused, you can go for a different variable name here, or you can change the ID. It is not a compulsion that the variable name and the ID name should be same. Next, we have to connect our next widget, that is the password. Now, why are we trying to connect this? If you look at this screen, you are having multiple edit text. It may so happen that whatever is entered in this particular, the name edit text box, that value might be fetched or that value might be used in this. So to avoid that confusion, we are assigning IDs to each of them, and then we are trying to match, we are trying to connect the respective variables with the respective text boxes or the respective widgets with the help of this IDs. So in the same way, we will also have to connect our button. So let us find the ID for the button. The variable for the button declaration is login. Then we say find view by ID. R is the resource file r.id dot, the button ID that we have specified is also login. So now we have connected. The next thing is, whenever this button is clicked, it should first of all check the username and password, and by default we are going to set the username as admin and password also as admin. So if both the username and password match, then the user should be taken to a new screen, that is the welcome screen. And if the username or the password, any one of them does not match, the message should be displayed as login unsuccessful. So for that, we are going to make use of an event, that is login. See, login is this button, this particular button. So on the click of that button, that is set on click listener, the first one. This is our first here. So this is going to create an instance. So what is going to happen when this instance is created? We are able to perform the functionality. Let us write the code and then we'll come back to the explanation. We have to select new view dot on click listener. So you can see here this super method at override public void on click is automatically created. So this is basically like an instance here. So with the help of this instance, we are able to connect, we are able to wire our listener to the button. That is on click listener is going to be an event. We are trying to link this particular listener to the button. So whenever the button is clicked, it should listen and then the code, the execution, whatever we want is to be written in this particular block under on click. The main logic is to be written under this block. So on click listener is an instance here which is going to listen to the click of the button and the event is going to occur. What event is to be occurred? We are writing it in public void on click. So now what I want is whenever the button is clicked, first of all, the username and password needs to be compared. So for that, we have to write, we'll make use of an if else condition here. Say if, so we have another function called objects dot equals. So this object dot equals takes two parameters as you can see here, object A comma object B. So it is going to compare if object A is equal to object B and it is going to return true. If the comparison fails, it will return false. So here whenever the comparison is true, it means login is successful. So now what do we have to compare? Whatever in the first parameter, we will say name dot, we have a function called as get text dot toString. This is our first parameter. Now let us enter the second parameter. So second parameter is admin. Let us have a and condition for the password also. So we'll say objects dot equals. So here we will check for the password. So now you have a look here. This name dot get text dot toString is our first parameter. So name is a variable that is linked to our text box, the edit text. So whatever the user enters, we are fetching that value with the help of name dot get text dot toString, because whatever is entered by the user is stored in this variable name. So we are saying dot get text, get fetch the text and convert it to string. And the second parameter you can see here B. The second parameter is admin. So whatever the user has entered, you compare it with admin. If it is true, that is the username also has to be true and the password also has to be true. So we have made use of AND. So here is the same thing, whatever is entered by the user is stored in password. We fetch that value with getText, convert it to toString and then compare it to the value admin that we have set as the password. So the username and password here is admin. So if what is entered by the user is also same, then we will write what is to be done in this if block. I'll make use of toast. So what is a toast in Android? It is just like a small pop-up here. So this small pop-up is going to disappear after a random amount of time. And let us see what parameters it takes. So we have to initiate it. We have to initiate this toast with the make text method. So this make text method again takes three parameters. First thing is on which particular page you want this toast to occur, on which particular activity. So that is called as a context. So on which particular context I want this toast to occur, I want this pop-up to occur on this main activity page. So I will say here main activity dot this indicates we want this particular activity to have that toast. Then the second parameter that this particular toast takes is the text. What text should be displayed on that pop-up? So the text that I want to display will be login successful. So you specify the text in double quotes. Next is the duration. So how long should this toast be displayed on the screen? So for that we will write toast dot. You have either length long or length short. These are the two different properties that you can specify. So we will say length long. Now I want this toast to be shown also, it should be displayed. So I will say dot show. I'll make use of dot show method. Next, if the login is successful, the message is going to be displayed with the help of the toast. Then it should also navigate or it should move to a separate page. So we will make use of the intent. Intent here is basically going to help us to navigate from one particular activity or from one particular screen or from one page to another page. So for that we have to make use of the intent. So we create an instance of that intent. You can say intent I or you can just say intent. So I is the instance. So we will say new intent. So this is the syntax. Now inside this we are again going to specify from which page, that is the source, to the destination. We will specify two properties. One is the source, one is the destination. So here what is going to be the source? The source is our main activity page. So you can specify the context as main activity dot this. So this is our source. From this page we want it to go to the next activity that we have created, which is home dot class. So if login is successful, it should go from main activity to the home class. Now we have created an instance for the intent. We also have to start this activity. So we will make use of, just give a semicolon. We will say start activity and then we just have to pass the intent here, the instance of the intent, that is I. Now this is if the code is successful. If at all the user does not enter admin, then we have an else block. So in the else block, let us just simply write a toast saying login unsuccessful. So we have toast dot make text, which again takes three parameters. The first one is where the text has to be displayed. So it should be displayed on this page, main activity dot this. Then second parameter is the text, that is login unsuccessful. The third parameter is how long the toast should be displayed. So let us say toast. So this time we will go for length underscore short. So the toast is quickly going to disappear. Since it has to be shown or it has to pop up, we'll say dot show. So this is the code. Now let us run this particular code. Let us start our emulator. So if we have any errors, we will get to see here in the logcat. And here let us go for, so you have a set of different things that you want to check, whether you want to debug, whether you want to go for warnings or errors. We will go for errors. So it will take some time for the emulator to start. So as emulator has started, the app has been installed. Now let us check if we are able to log in. So you can see a hint, enter name. The moment I type the text here, the hint is going to disappear. So the username is admin and the password is also admin. So the login should be successful. Click on the button. So you can see a toast here, login successful. And we have navigated to the second screen once the login was successful. Now let us check for login unsuccessful. We'll take this off. Click on login again. Now we get a toast login unsuccessful. And you could also see, since for the second one we have mentioned as length short, it quickly disappeared. So this is the third lab term work, creating a graphical user interface. So here you can see the app is located in this emulator, lab 3. So this is all about the third term work. Thank you.